You know, have you ever felt like you're just on a completely different wavelength than your own family? Today we're going to talk about that very personal, often kind of lonely experience, what it means to feel like the chosen one in your family.
I mean, does this hit home for you? You're sitting there, maybe at the dinner table, in conversations with the people you love more than anyone, but there's a part of you that's listening for something else, something deeper. Yeah, it's that quiet pull towards what you know is true. It's carrying these convictions deep in your soul that maybe your family doesn't quite get, or maybe they even just brush them off. And this feeling, it's so important to say, it isn't about being better than them, not at all. It's about being different. And that leads us to the heart of what we're unpacking today. That feeling of being set apart, of being different, it's not a sign that you're being rejected. So often, it's actually the weight of a divine responsibility.
You know, the Bible tells us that to whom much is given, much will be required. This isn't about putting you on a pedestal above everyone else. It's about God shaping you, refining you, and using you as a witness right where it's most personal, most tender, inside your own family.
So, what does this calling even look like in real life? Well, it almost always starts with how you see things. It's a calling to see the world, and especially your family, through a totally different lens.
Okay, look at this contrast, because this is fascinating. The cultural lens just accepts what's normal, right? It avoids discomfort at all costs and just follows the routine. But a spiritual lens, that's different. It's always trying to discern the truth. It actually feels conviction. And it recognizes God's hand moving, even in the most ordinary moments. You might be the only one in the room who feels that little pang of conviction when everyone else is just fine.
And see, this isn't just a vague feeling. It's a deep biblical truth. This transformation, it starts in your mind, with how you perceive everything. It's this inner renewal that literally sets your perspective apart from the default patterns of the world all around you.
So here's the crucial part. Seeing things this way is absolutely a gift. I mean, Jesus himself said, "Blessed are your eyes, for they see." But that blessing isn't just for your own comfort. No, it's a call to be an anchor of truth, and that calling starts right where you live. Now, this unique way of seeing things doesn't just change what you think, it changes your role. It often leads to a second calling, and this one's a heavy one, a calling to carry the burdens that others in the family might be actively avoiding.
And these are the heavy things, aren't they? The pain that no one talks about. The spiritual emptiness that hangs in the air. You feel these things so much more deeply, not because you're just more sensitive, but because God is calling you to stand in the gap, to be the one who prays, the one who intercedes, the one who deeply cares about the spiritual health of your family, even when they don't seem to see it themselves. A little like Job, who would pray for his children just in case. You might be carrying a spiritual weight they don't even know exists.
And all of this, it points back to the ultimate pattern we see in Jesus. Carrying these burdens is a small reflection of Christ himself, and that tells us something important. It's not a sign of your own strength, but a sign of your surrender. And trust me, God sustains the people he appoints to this task.
You know, this calling often puts you at a critical crossroads, a place where you're in a position to break negative generational patterns. It all starts with seeing the pattern for what it is. Then you have to resist the urge to just inherit it, to just go along. Instead, you make a conscious, sometimes difficult choice for obedience. And through that one choice, you can start a whole new, healthier direction for generations to come.
But what about those times when you feel completely overlooked or misunderstood? When it feels like no one sees you? Well, those aren't accidents. Those are often very intentional seasons of spiritual formation.
I mean, just look at the story of Joseph. It's the perfect example. Betrayal by his own brothers, years in a dungeon. These hidden, painful times were not wasted. The Bible actually says the word of the Lord tested him. It was like a secret training ground, shaping his character for the incredible responsibility he was going to carry one day.
Please let this sink in for a moment. Those quiet, hidden seasons where you feel totally sidelined, that is not punishment, that is preparation. God is using that time to prepare you, to deepen your faith where no one else is watching, so that your roots can grow deep enough to hold you up for what's coming.
And this brings us to such a vital truth. God isn't looking for a perfect witness, he's looking for a faithful one. Trying to be perfect just creates distance, right?
But when you're aware of your own weakness, like Peter was after he denied Jesus, it makes you totally dependent on grace. And that's what makes your faith real. It makes it believable. And it points other people directly to God, not to you.
So if all of this feels like an absolutely impossible weight to carry, let's finish with the promise that holds this entire calling together. He will sustain what he starts.
This right here is the ultimate reassurance. The responsibility that God puts on you always comes with his provision to see it through. The work he starts in you, he will finish. You are not, and never have been, carrying this alone.
And here it is. Here is the freedom in this calling. Your job isn't to fix your family. Your job isn't to change their hearts. Honestly, that's God's work. Your responsibility is simply to be faithful, to guard your own heart, and to walk in truth right where he planted you. So, I just want to leave you with this one question to think about. Right in the middle of your family, with all its history and all its complexities, what is the one thing God is asking you to be faithful with today?